I want to talk about us versus them mentality and high demand dogmatic belief systems. And I want to say there's situations where I've also experienced such an extreme opposite of that. And first, I actually want to show you what that looks like. It's like this inclusiveness where we all understand that we're brainstorming and discovering and learning what is right and what is wrong. And that right and wrong doesn't. There are some things that overall are right and wrong. But in us versus the mentality, high dogmatic belief systems, what tends to happen is people who are actually like causing extreme and great amount of harm are also often so charismatic or relied upon that's just scooted under the rug any like actual true harmful thing that they've done. So when I talk about good and bad, it's from a place of having seen this really odd extreme hyper-moralism among people who are making small choices that aren't massively impacting others or causing huge amounts of traumas to others, and yet they're like hyper moralized, like super judged for it, or stories are made up to gossip about these people or to downplay others for the uplifting of the group. That's why they're scapegoats. Because this is exactly what us versus them mentality is. Why is there a scapegoat? Like, what is the purpose of having a scapegoat if it causes that much damage? It's because we're toxic, okay? It's because the group, thinking that they're morally superior, needs to create a common enemy to further increase the bonds of everybody else in the group except the scapegoat. And in that sense, in creating what they thought, people who are doing that, they're saying the scapegoat is doing this horrible, evil, wrong thing. And the funny part about that is the people actually doing the horrible, evil, wrong things are following all the rules within the groupthink of that egregore, but then they're just able to hide really well some extremely horrible things that they're actually doing. And so then the scapegoat is someone who actually isn't doing anything wrong, but they're just a little off. Like, you kind of get that, what do you call it? I was going to say uncanny valley. Like, I feel like a lot of people who are scapegoated, they have something quite similar to the group, but they just seem a little bit, tiny bit off from the group. They would never do anything to hurt anybody. And because they would never do anything to hurt anyone, they're more pacifist and they're not going to fight back as much, which is why they're more vulnerable to the gossip and to accusations. Like Jesus. Yeah, so Jesus not speaking a word as he was being accused and prodded, that's kind of the perfect example. He was turning the other cheek constantly, and there's something to that. There's something to the strength, but also the softness of that. It reminds me of Taoism, of being like water, because I kind of imagine like internally versus externally how his psyche would have been in, like the state it would have been in, was in pure and total peace because he knew that he was following his Father's will. And like how that can apply to us, whether you believe in Jesus or not. It's like, that what you're doing, you have no reason to defend any of it, because you're following your inner guide, your compass. You're following the North Star. And so when people throw these accusations at you, you can deny them at first, but then you kind of realize, and the scapegoat, I'm sure, realizes this in us versus them mentality. Like, I'm sure the scapegoat comes to a point where they realize, oh, whether I defend myself or not, they're going to keep doing this to me. They're going to keep, and it's really sad because it's a huge pecking order. That person can have horrible, horrible things done to them. And somehow, I just get this inner sense, this big feeling that they will stay strong within themselves, that their inner world is heaven, and nobody can take that from them. So if you've been scapegoated to this degree ever, it might be hard to get through those times of feeling like you need to defend yourselves against things that actually other people have done wrong. So if they're doing it, they're going to try to shift the blame onto you. And so you'll feel the need to defend yourself at some points, I'm sure, if you've been scapegoated. But there comes a point when you realize it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much I defend, try to, involve myself with the group more, or try to whatever it is you're trying to do. If anyone is set on some kind of narrative about you and like nothing is changing their minds, it's just coming into a place of like complete acceptance and surrender within yourself. And an even crazier thing to do would be to feel peace despite everything and regardless of the madness and the chaos that the people gossiping and causing all this drama are trying to do. I mean, it takes a lot of practice, and the world should not have to be this way, and yet it is. And some of the people who are scapegoated can't make it through that, and simply, and we can't judge them for that, like they can't find that inner peace. That's where Jesus could, and that's what a big part of like following his example is because the world will attack you, right? And if you can somehow realize that what you have control of is your inner worlds, and that deep down, with all of their hypermoralisms, their perfectionistic judgments, like think of the Pharisees, all the very specific rules that they had, and you had to be in line exactly with these. And it doesn't matter if you step out of the bounds and you do something that actually is kind and healing towards somebody, the world will attack you for that because they see you as vulnerable. They envy that. They wish to be you. And so they can't have that. If they can't have that, they're going to try to take that from you. So stay strong out there, people. This is happening everywhere. I've seen it from the religious perspective, but it's happening everywhere. It's happening in so many different circles. It's happening in, if you related to this video at all, you've seen it happening. Oh, but even if you've been scapegoated, let's say you get through it, you find your crowd. Here's the opposite of us versus them mentality. Here's the opposite of groupthink. You find people who you have your differences with. You have your own ways to do little things with. And you're not reliant on having to do everything exactly the same way to hold the group together. That's true friends. And you can find that. It might take some time, but you can.